Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest questions imaginable, the nature of the universe itself. But we're going to come at it from a really fresh, almost surprisingly simple angle, thanks to a thinker who had the guts to ask, are we making this way too complicated? All right, let's get into it. So our guide on this journey is a writer and analyst who goes by Aquarian Rising. Now, they're not a physicist with a bunch of degrees, but a passionate outsider. And this quote, it just nails the whole point of this explainer, trying to find simplicity in a world that, let's be honest, is famous for its complexity. So let's just, what if? What if the deepest rules of the cosmos aren't buried in some mind-melting math, but are actually based on a few ideas you can wrap your head around? You know, things like a massive cosmic recycling program happening in a space that just goes on forever. First up, let's be clear about where this theory comes from. And what's really cool about it is that it's from outside the traditional world of physics. Its real strength is that it isn't tied down by the usual way of thinking. So who is Aquarian Rising? Well, the way they put it, they're an analyst at heart. Someone who just loves to take complex things, pull them apart, and see what makes them tick. They look at physics with this amazing sense of curiosity, like an outsider looking in, which, sometimes lets you see things that the experts might just be too close to notice. And that perspective leads to the first giant idea in this theory, what they call the Great Cosmic Recycler. It's this really elegant, almost beautiful idea for how the universe could just keep refueling itself in a loop, basically forever. Okay, so check this out. The theory takes two things we're all familiar with. You've got nebulae, right? These incredible star factories. And then you have black holes, the universe's ultimate trash compactors. Aquarian Rising's idea is that these aren't just two separate things happening. They're actually two parts of the very same engine. So how would this cosmic engine actually work? Well, according to the theory, it's a four-step loop. First, all the stuff from an old universe gets pulled into a black hole. Second, it gets squished down into a singularity. Third, and this is the magic part, that singularity either reworks the matter or just moves it somewhere else, kind of like a wormhole. And finally, all that repurposed stuff bursts back out. Boom! A new Big Bang. The whole cycle starts all over again. And here is the payoff, the really big so what of all this. If the universe is constantly recycling itself, it has this built-in fix for the so-called heat death. That idea that the universe will eventually just fizzle out. In this model, the cosmos doesn't die. It just gets reborn. Okay, so if the universe just keeps getting reborn over and over, that opens up a whole other can of worms, right? Which brings us to the next big idea, a version of the multiverse that's actually pretty intuitive. No messy math required. And get this. This might be the best part. You can forget all that sci-fi stuff about extra dimensions and weird planes of existence. This model is built on something way, way simpler. I love how Aquarian Rising puts it. The multiverse isn't some strange, mystical plane. It's just the natural result of having a truly infinite amount of space. It's not out there in another dimension. It's just more out there. So what does this simpler multiverse actually look like? Well, think of our entire universe, everything we can see, everything we know, as just one bubble. One pocket of existence. And that bubble is floating in an infinite ocean of space that contains countless other bubbles just like ours. Simple as that. So if there are infinite universes, what's in them? Well, literally anything and everything. This is where it gets really fun to think about. There could be a universe that's exactly like ours, except your hair is blue, or one where dinosaurs didn't die out and reptiles rule the world. Or maybe one that looks nothing like ours at all. And maybe, just maybe, there's a universe that's a perfect copy of ours, it's just running a few years behind schedule. Did you catch that last one? A universe lagging behind in time? Hold on to that thought, because it is the key to solving one of the oldest problems in science fiction, how to travel in time without breaking everything. We all think of time travel as this super complicated mess, right? You go back, you accidentally step on a butterfly, and suddenly you've created a paradox that unravels reality. Well, this idea is different. Instead of traveling back in time, you travel across space to find a universe where our past is their present. It's a simple little shift in thinking that completely sidesteps the whole paradox problem. It's kind of brilliant. So the point is, you can't change your own past. It's done. It's history. But if you could just find one of those universes that's lagging a bit behind ours, you could pop over there and watch it all happen again, like rewatching a movie. Time travel stops being about when and starts being about where. How cool is that? Okay, let's pull back and look at the whole picture here. We've got cosmic recycling, an infinite multiverse, and time travel without paradoxes. Each idea on its own is pretty simple, but when you put them all together, you get a surprisingly complete and powerful way of looking at the entire cosmos. When you really strip it all down, this whole grand theory just rests on 3 basic rules. First, you need infinite space for everything to happen in. Second, you need a natural recycling system to keep it all going. And third, it all follows one of the most basic laws we know. Energy can't be destroyed, it just gets moved around or changed into something else. That's it. That's the whole theory. And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started, the power of seeing things from the outside. This quote is a great reminder that sometimes the biggest breakthroughs don't come from making things more complicated, but from having the courage to make them simpler. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought to chew on. As we keep searching for ever more complex and elaborate theories to explain everything, is it possible we're all overlooking an answer that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time? Could the biggest secrets of the universe really be that simple?